Hey guys, good morning. This is Hope. This is Hope. This is Hope. Be delicious steps and gifts. Hope speaks from the heart. And dosa de leche and Nana Sweets. I've been wanting to do. Oh, by the way, it's January 16th. It's like 50 something degrees right now. I have this hat on for two reasons. One, because it's a little slightly chilly. It's coming over a cold, and I'm not trying to get sick again because that was horrible cold. But I've been wanting to do this Bible study for a good while, and because a couple things stuck with me. We heard about, Jesus and the disciples with the loaves of bread and the fish, 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish, multiplied that, fed an abundance of people. And then Peter walking on the water, right? But I want to get a little bit more into that because we always look at Peter like, Peter ain't got no faith, yada, yada, yada. But in this story, there's a little bit of things going on. So, Matthew, I'm going to read a little bit of it. I'm going to start at Matthew 13. And just before this, the disciples had told Jesus that they buried John because he was beheaded, John the Baptist. So 13 starts, when Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solidarity place. I want to read a different version. No, I don't have time right now. This is the NIV version. I like the New King James Version. So he wanted to be by himself. Jesus was trying to be by himself. That's how it starts out. He withdrew by boat privately. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from town. 14, when Jesus landed and saw the large crowd, he had compassion and healed the sick. As evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." Jesus replied, Do not send them away. They don't need to go away. I'm going to kind of paraphrase because I'm getting ready to go to work. Give them something to eat. We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they answered. Bring them here to me, he said. And he directed the people to sit down on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, looking up to heaven, he gave thanks, broke the loaves. Then he gave them the disciples and gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied from 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. You guys heard the story from when you were little, going to Bible study or Sunday school. So let me back up a little bit. Jesus heard about his cousin who got beheaded. He wanted to get away to be by himself. When they found out that he was in town, they wanted to hear him. They wanted, and Jesus took compassion. He took compassion on them and he healed them. Then after that, he fed them. All right, so now right after that, this is the part where Jesus walks on water, verse 22. So after he fed them, immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he dismissed them, I don't know why I can't speak this morning. After he dismissed them, he went onto the mountainside by himself to pray. Okay, so again, he's trying to get away. Later that night, he was there alone. Verse 24, and the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against them. Basically, there was a lot of wind. on the lake, and the boat was, rocking and shaking. Boat turbulence. Shortly before dawn. Now, the reason why I wanted to get into the King James Version, because it says the fourth watch. The fourth watch. That's very important. That's very important on a whole different, for a lot of different reasons. But I'm going to just get into one of the reasons. It says, shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake, walking on water. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I, don't be afraid. So the fourth watch, there are different watches. If you find yourself getting up at a certain time, it's probably meant for you to pray. That's your watch to pray. The fourth watch is in between 3 and 6 a.m. So that's the reason why they're probably saying, it's a ghost, because that's like right before dawn. 3, and it's dark, between 3 and 6 a.m. Now I'm not going to get into that right now. That's a whole different Bible study. But the point is that Jesus immediately, as soon as they were like terrified, say, is it a ghost? Is it a ghost? Is it a ghost? Is it Casper the ghost? He said, no, it's not a ghost. It is I, don't be afraid. He told them to don't be afraid immediately. And how many times in our life we get things going on in our life, our boat is rocky, our boat is shaky, and we cry out to God. And he immediately answers our prayer. Or he immediately tells us, he may not even answer our prayer, right? He doesn't immediately answer our prayer, but he does let us know that he's there for us. Why is my little thing sliding down? He's there for us. Okay, so here go Peter. Here go Peter, verse 28. Lord, if it's you. Okay, so he just been with Jesus, healing the sick. He just performed miracle and this bread and this fish. And before, he's in his group. How does he not know his voice? Should we know his voice? He said, don't be afraid. What type of ghost is gonna say, don't be afraid, it's me? I'll wait. So Peter said, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water. And what did Jesus say? Come. Lord, if it's you, if you're real, Jesus, if you're real, if God, if you are real, show me, tell me, help me. Come. Lord, I need you. Come. Lord, I'm desperate for you. Come. Lord, I'm afraid. Come. He answered. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, how do you see the wind? That's what it says. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. So he had the faith. I'm not going to get on Peter. I could. We all could. We all have. Preachers have gotten on Peter. Because Peter's like, dude, you know Jesus' voice? That's the guy that you've been hanging out with. That's the man that you've been listening to. This is the man that you saw perform miracles. He just fed you just the day before. But isn't that like us? God gets us out of a situation that we got ourselves into. We don't trust, we don't believe. And then we do things that we know we're not supposed to do. We get payday loans, or we go out with this guy and we know he ain't good for us, or we hook up with this girl, this is a young lady, and she ain't no good, or whatever the situation is, whatever it is. Y'all know where I'm trying to get to. And then we say, Lord, save me. Help me. Help me, help me, help me. But this is the point that I want to get to. Not about, Peter not believing, because, when the winds start to shake, I'm going to use this as an example for myself, personal. I love to fly. I love to fly. In fact, I'll be getting on a plane in the next couple of weeks and next month. Turbulence doesn't bother me. I mean, it just doesn't bother me. When that plane starts to shake, and it's natural to be afraid because you're suspended in air. You're suspended in air. And I got to get going. But isn't it natural to be afraid when the high winds are blowing, the turbulence in your life, your boat's shaking, you don't know what to do, you're walking on water? I remember years ago when I was living in Oklahoma, and God said, he said, Hope, I'm going to do something for you, but you're going to have faith. You're going to have walking on water, blindfolded, hands tied behind your back, hopping on one leg. It's faith. I passed my test. And I went through, but I went through, you guys. I went through, and hopefully one day I'll be able to share that with you. But when Peter cried out for Jesus to save him, he immediately saved him. Got him. He got him. He snatched him out of that water so he wouldn't drown. The point is, Jesus is always there to answer. He is. I mean, I know they say he's a right on time God. At that moment, he needed to be saved from drowning. And I think a lot of us need to be saved from drowning, not as far as like in water, but just in the life choices that we've made. I want you to start reading Bible verses and looking at it as far as, don't be judgmental as far as, like Peter and not having the faith. Look at it on the other side of, of Jesus's point of view, of his point of view. And yeah, I thank God for Jesus. I thank him for Jesus. I thank him for y'all might be late for work. I thank him for everything that he's done in my life on a personal level. He's saved me from a lot of things, and I appreciate that. Sometimes he didn't answer, but a lot of times he did. Good morning. A lot of times he did. So take it. Hopefully you got something out of this. All right, talk to you guys later.